Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast, the show for accounting, tax, and bookkeeping firm owners. Are you ready to build a firm that gives you the freedom, confidence, and consistent revenue without burnout or undercharging? If you've ever felt stuck discounting your fees, chasing clients, or giving away too much advice for free, you're in the right place. Here, we talk about sales mastery, charging premium prices, creating boundaries that stick, and learning how to convert high-value clients with confidence and ease. Each episode, you will hear real success stories, sales strategies, and guest experts who will help you work less, earn more, and finally create the firm and life you deserve. Accountants like you should feel confident and in control of their work, not shackled to it, and neither should their clients. That's why I recommend having your clients make the switch to Intuit QuickBooks Bill Pay. QuickBooks Bill Pay automates accounts payable in QuickBooks so your clients' bills, vendor records, 1099s, and reporting are all synced together in one place. QuickBooks Bill Pay streamlines your clients' accounts payable with tools to optimize cash flow and stay tax ready all year round. You'll get real-time visibility into what bills are due and when, along with cash flow insights so you can confidently guide your clients to make smarter decisions. Plus, with Bill Pay Elite, your clients can customize approval workflows to eliminate bottlenecks and assign approvals to groups. Learn more at quickbooks.com/accountant bill pay. Again, that's quickbooks.com/accountant bill pay. Terms apply. Money movement services are provided by Intuit Payments, Inc., licensed as a money transmitter by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. Our special guest is a client here of the Abundant Accountant and has been part of our 8-week sales mastery course back in 2019. She is the founder of a boutique tax and financial planning firm who is dedicated to helping business owners create long-term wealth through proactive tax strategy. After years of traditional accounting work, she shifted her focus to tax planning and built a client-centered firm rooted in clarity, confidence, and purpose. She's passionate about empowering entrepreneurs to understand their numbers, minimize taxes, and make smarter financial decisions. And she combines her technical expertise and genuine care, making complex strategies simple and actionable. And in her spare time, she finds herself exercising, enjoying Lake Murray, that is in South Carolina, by the way, and spending time with her family and friends. And she's also been married to her husband for over 29 years and has 2 grownish children. But before we welcome our special guest to the show, if you've created a firm because you wanted control in your firm, but it sort of feels like a job that you can't escape from because you don't have any sales system in place and you don't have a plan for freedom, then it's really time to make a shift. You shouldn't feel like you've hit burnout. You should not feel like you're exhausted and tired and frustrated, or that your next revenue goal is just too far away. And you don't need more clients. What you need is better quality clients. Being able to say no to people who are not a good fit with you. And a sales process to close and enroll the right ones. Here at the Abundant Accountant, I'll show you how to package your services, raise your prices, and work with high margin clients who respect your time and value your worth. If that's you, then book a free strategy call at theabundantcall.com and let's lay out a roadmap for your firm that turns your firm into a real asset and not just a glorified job. Once again, theabundantcall.com. And now let's welcome our very special guest, Beth, to the show. Welcome, Beth, to the show.
Hey, Michelle. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for taking out the time to share your experience of how things have gone since 2019 when we first worked together. And I love our podcast where we get to bring on clients just like you who have made significant changes in their firms. And I feel that your story can really impact another firm owner. So as a collective, we can really help the tax, accounting, bookkeeping industry make changes as a whole. I believe that, we have to eradicate what I call the under-earning and overworking disease that this industry has, and that we can do so by helping firm owners change one firm owner at a time, like you have and many others that we've worked with. So I just wanted to welcome you. And why don't you introduce yourself? I've already done your intro, but since you are a firm owner, why don't you share where you're at in the country and what is your firm focused on maybe now versus maybe what you did in the past too, because I know things have really changed since 2019.
Right. So I'm Beth Gearhart. I am a CPA and a CFP and a certified tax planner. I'm located in South Carolina, if you can't guess from my accent. I'm a 100% virtual firm, always have been. My firm focuses on pretty much supporting any financial needs that a small business owner may have, from compliance all the way to tax planning and fractional CFO services, just depending on what each client may need. And as they grow, obviously they need more. So
Yeah.
our intent is to work with fewer clients for longer, and have them be relationship-based clients rather than that old business model of churning people and
Yeah.
tax returns out.
Yep. The churn and burn, right? Isn't that what they call
The
that?
churn until you're burned. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, and thank you so much for sharing that. And I'd love it, Beth, if maybe we can start and kind of like set the scene. But when we met, what did you feel was missing in your day to day when you were thinking about your firm, your sales process, your pricing, converting, your bank account? What do you feel was missing? And maybe you can take us back to 2019 when you reached out for help and said, I even think you said, God put me in your path.
Yep.
All right.
God does that. And he did. So I mean, I was like a lot of people. I was working a lot. I was tired. The work-life balance wasn't great. I didn't have a lot of time to figure out what was going wrong because I was working. And I really lacked the confidence because they don't teach accountants how to sell. They just don't. So, I'm a process oriented person and I didn't have a process for that. And I really wanted to move away from, you know, hours build to value build, and a value that, allowed me the lifestyle that I wanted for me and my family.
Yeah.
So we were really I was tired and I was frustrated. And like I said, I lacked confidence and I lacked time to make the changes that I felt like my firm needed and that I needed. So that's what I'm saying. I went somewhere and, heard you speak, and that's why I say God put you in my path, because I was to the point where it's like, something's got to give. And when I heard you speak and I met you, I was like, yep, that's pretty much what I need. Right there in a nutshell.
Yeah. And when you heard me speak or whatever that was in that moment, if you can recall, what made that, line feel really true to you, that, God put you in my path, but also maybe there was something I said that said, yep, that's the thing I need, right? Like, what was that for you that said, okay, enough's enough. I need to make a change? Because how long prior to that, Beth, have you wanted to make a change? You just didn't know what to do, right? Because as CPA, they don't teach you this, right? So
Right.
several years. And I think many firm owners are stuck in that too, where they're doing this for several years, but there's something that you're like, all right, if nothing changes, I'm going to throw in the towel, right? Or it's like being tired and frustrated has to take a toll on you. So if you can think back, what was the true kind of turning point in that moment for you?
Well, I felt like first, you were valuing our services, meaning they have value. We are not necessarily an hourly commodity. And I think that's first validating. And I was to the point in my business where I did know something had to change. I was ready to grow, but there was, no capacity. And so talking about your structure, and how you could help people learn how to do this and put, processes in place for finding clients. And then when you got them, having the confidence to speak to them and the ability to convert them to a higher price that wasn't based necessarily on the hours, but the value that we provided. I do think, it was 2019, it was right before COVID. And COVID is a time where CPAs were able to prove our value time and time again,
Mm-hmm.
every day, all day. But before that, people didn't really value their CPA,
Yeah.
So trying to switch it, switch the mentality of a client or a potential client to, what did I have to offer that would provide the value to them and be more meaningful, and that you could help us verbalize that,
Yes.
because we're often not very verbal. That was something that appealed, that there was a
Mm-hmm.
process and there was a structure and there was a way for me to escape and get, paid for my value, the years and years of education and, experience and work, and just that there was a better way to do that, and like I said, in a way to close it,
Yes.
with confidence.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened for you. Right. So, okay, I want to fast forward and then we're going to go back in time because we worked together in 2019 and now things have changed for you. Why don't you share with us that from what you think by having your sales process in place, having the structure, being able to get paid based on your value, having the structure to know what to say and communicate that value, how has that helped your firm from a numbers perspective, just so everyone can have some context about why you're here today? Because I think there's many firm owners like you that lack confidence in their sales conversation and also feel really uneasy presenting their fees without discounting and all the other things that maybe you did prior, right? But now you've got a very successful firm. You're working much less. I think you said you've hired 2 full-time people and now you're confident, right? You have your structured enrollment meetings. You're using a proven process that has these clients see your value, and you've built the firm that, runs on this clarity and confidence that you have versus the chaos and the frustration and being so exhausted like you were. So share with us, how mastering your sales process really has stepped you into where you're at today.
Yeah, so I looked back at some numbers, and in 2019, it was me and a part-time person. We were, just kind of starting out, but we had no ability to grow, because we were working like dogs. Um, and so I looked, and from 2024 up to 2024, revenue grew 218%, and I was working significantly less hours. The last tax season was when I finally went, aha, I think I've got it. Because the whole team did not work overtime.
Oh,
Now,
nice.
granted, I did a little bit because I'm the head honcho, but my team did
Uh-huh.
not. No extra hours worked.
Awesome.
And obviously, I can attract better quality team members, because I'm not working them like a dog. So they have better quality of life, and they do better work. We have less mistakes because we're not working those hours. So definitely, aside from revenue growth, I've had a reduction in hours that have allowed me to have vacations, to kick off work at Friday, at 5 o'clock or before, have Fridays off or half day Fridays. And roll through the last due date without freaking out.
Well,
So
that's a
it's
180 of
definite.
how things were.
Yeah, it's definitely a transformation of my firm. And I really did look back and, obviously this isn't me. Um, it's not about me. I told you God brought me to
Yeah.
you and it's all about him. But I definitely believe it was transformational in my firm.
Mm-hmm.
Just and really that was just learning value. And when you do that, you know that you can attract better people to work for
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yeah.
And your product is going to be better and it's going to be a better return on your investment in that client.
Yep.
And you're going to work less, which
Yeah.
is what we're all trying to do.
Right. I mean, it had a significant impact on your life. I imagine your stress levels have decreased significantly, having Fridays off or half days and going on more vacations. And now, what I'm hearing you, Beth, you've got your time freedom back and for your team, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm curious, how has letting go of that busy season mentality changed how you run your firm and how you show up for your team and your clients?
Well, so we established several things, and that is due dates. And I'm pretty blunt with the client. If it's not here by then, we're not going to kill ourselves to get it done. It's their due
Yep.
date, not my due date.
Yep.
But we work with our clients all year long. So when we get to the end of the year, we kind of know this one's going to need to be extended. This one we've got. We have the same stragglers. We all
Mm-hmm.
have them. But they get fired at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I identify those that need to go out at the end of the tax season primarily because of that, because it does cause a headache.
Yeah.
And if we're bringing in more quality, higher paying clients, then we can get rid of.
Those people. It is my favorite term, the pita clients.
Yeah.
As much as I love pita bread, I don't like pita clients.
Yeah. And I mean, I find myself, I guess, much more free.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I'm tied to my desk. My husband has observed the same thing.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah. So we're able to enjoy life more. And I am very blunt with my clients. And because it's a relationship, they know
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
they've heard from me all year. So, they know what the due dates are.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know some just always run on the second due date. And so I know that.
And you get paid for it,
We do
right?
get paid for it.
Yeah.
Right.
We get paid
Right.
for the second due date.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And we're still refining that process.
Uh-huh.
As business owners, we're never not learning and refining. We just always are. I
Totally.
think people are always doing that. So I've even thought about repeating your course,
Ooh.
just to brush up on things, because
Anytime.
we're
Anytime.
always learning, right? And
Yeah.
and to think that we're not means we're not growing.
Yeah.
And just I want to do the best for my team. And if I'm doing the best for my team, then I'm going to reap that reward as well.
Totally. Yeah. And what do you think has been the biggest mindset shift that's really helped you to move from this insecurity place to this place of confidence as it relates to your sales process, your deadlines, due dates, the way you get paid, how you charge based on value, not time? Everything that we've discussed so far is all of your sales process. So what do you think's been that biggest mindset shift for you that really helped you move from insecurity to confidence?
I think I learned to say no.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
No, that client is not a good fit. I don't have to take them all. We establish what a good client looks like for me and what a good price is, I know for that client. And anything that's
Mm-hmm.
not going to fall in that, say no. It'll save headaches later down the road, and it will leave room for the great ones that do come in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that I think that was hard because I think, especially I was starting my business then, I'd been on my own for a couple years. And I just felt like, we like to eat. And so I was just
Mm-hmm.
taking on clients, and they weren't the clients that I identified through your course were the best
Mm-hmm.
clients for me. And thus I wasn't going to be able
Mm-hmm.
to value price them. So learning to say no to those, we
Yeah.
can't help them all.
Yeah.
And I do spend time with those when I say no. Because I do want this business owner to grow their business and be able to come back to me when they are a perfect client.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think that was setting the boundary, knowing who I'm looking for,
Yeah.
um, and knowing, that it was okay not to take everybody. Um, I think that was kind of the biggest, aha
Yeah.
takeaway from me was we can't serve everybody. Look and see who's good for you and who can you focus on, who's in your niche, you could say,
Yeah.
um, and serve those and serve them well. I mean, that's my goal every year is to serve my clients well.
Yeah.
Um, People have much more lofty goals, but that's my goal. You know,
Yeah.
it's not hard.
Well,
It's just serve my clients well.
yeah. And I think you're doing that and you're doing it more with grace now than with stress, right? Or with the frustration that you had. Like you said earlier, you were so tired and frustrated. That actually goes onto our clients. But now you're chill, you're calm, everything is smooth. And when we do that, you can serve them at a higher level because you set those boundaries. You know who you're looking for. You figured out, right? We did the ideal client. And it's okay to not work with everyone. And we gave you that permission to say no. And you saw what happens when we say no. I think many firm owners come from this place of scarcity, which I'm sure you were at too, right? Where you need to take on everyone and anyone. You're going to give a discount. You're going to negotiate on price just to get someone to say yes to you. And in the long run, that just hurts you. But in the short term, it seems like it's the best thing out. That's the best option for you. So, how would you say working with us here at the Abundant Accountant, doing our 8-week sales mastery course, like what would you say your experience was like working with us?
Oh, I thought it was great. Role playing is
Mm-hmm.
fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing what you're thinking, what you should say, and then tweaking that because you know how we really should say it. And having those scripts, it's nothing worse when you're talking to a client and they say something, you got these big eyes because you're like, I don't know how to respond to that. But you helped us craft
Well, you
good
did your
language.
homework,
Now, I
and
did my homework.
through the
Yes.
homework you created your scripts. We didn't provide them
Right.
to you, so you
No, you did
create
not provide them. We
right.
created them, but
Hmm.
you helped us tweak them, so
Correct.
that
Yeah, we helped
so
tweak
they
them.
weren't all accountant like.
Yeah.
But yes, we did create them. And having the process, like I said, I didn't have a process for that. I had a
Yeah.
process for accounting and taxes, and I didn't have a process to
Mm-hmm.
get prospects and then enroll prospects,
Yeah.
um, and follow up with prospects. I didn't have any of that. And
Mm-hmm.
sitting right to the corner of my eye, I have this lovely red rope
Yep.
just sits here and stares at me every time I take a call. And if
Yeah.
you don't know what the red rope is, then you need to take Michelle's class because,
Yes. Well, we won't give away
yeah,
that spoiler alert.
yes, but it will remind you of what you
Mm-hmm.
learned. And sometimes we do fall in our old habits,
Yeah.
and that little sucker sits there and stares at me.
So, for all the left brain accounting, bookkeeping, tax firm owners, fractional CFO firm owners, I hear a lot about what did you think about the structure and the mechanics of the program and how quickly were you able to implement this when you started working with me? And I think it'd be great from the firm owner perspective, Beth, if you could share that. Like, how soon were you able to apply what you were learning in actual client conversations? And what did you think about the structure and the mechanics being a firm owner?
Yes, so I think definitely by the end of the 8 weeks, I was more confident.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the mechanics, you have to practice it.
Yep.
Um, as you learn, you need to set aside the time to practice before you go to enroll. And so I, you know, I don't think it was within the first 8 weeks, but probably in the first 10 to 12, I was definitely more confident and I was closing more often,
Mm-hmm.
and at a higher price.
Yeah.
Um, and so that structure to me, I mean, we're structured people.
Yeah.
It works. It
Mm-hmm.
absolutely does work. When I could find that when I would follow your structure, when I
Yeah.
practice it ahead of time, follow the structure, um, I would I would close it. And the times that I would deviate from the structure were not as successful.
Yeah.
And so I still will, if I have a big pitch, I will pull that up and I
Mm-hmm.
will go through it and I will think, back on all the things you taught us, the objections and how to overcome those objections and, do this at this time and this at that time and then shut up. These are
Yeah.
things you taught us and I will go back through them just to make sure that they stay fresh in my brain. And I can do that.
Yeah. You have your process that's tailored, customized to your firm, and you know who you want to work with, you know who you want to let go of, and you've got all of this framework that you've created for your sales process. So it makes it easy and it's like music to my ears when you tell me that you're still doing it today. I love that.
Yeah, if it's a big, especially if it's a big one.
All of them, Beth, all of them.
I know. I know.
So, when you were thinking about joining our 8-week sales mastery program and working with us here, did you have any hesitations or fears wondering, like, would this really work for you? Or did you have the time to invest? I think there's a lot of firm owners that might be listening. I don't have the time. It's busy season. It's like, I feel like in your industry, there's never a good time, but I'd love it if you can share any hesitations that you had around the time commitment, the investment, or just fears that wondering if this was even going to work for you.
Yeah, so the investment was, frightening because you're a small business owner. But I trusted in the other people that had gone through and said you were going to recoup it. And I did. The time commitment was scary because you made us do homework.
Yeah.
And, that was a little frightening, but I have learned that you have to take time to work on your business to make it successful, not always in your business. Everybody knows that, but you have to tell yourself that and you have to make the time. So yes, there were some time sacrifices there. And the other big thing to overcome was, remember I mentioned confidence?
Yes.
I lacked confidence. That was probably the bigger hurdle. But I think when you know that you're going to have a tested framework, it's kind of like I grew up dancing and I could dance in front of 75,000 people because I had a routine to do.
Wow.
But it was scary to sit one-to-one because I didn't have a routine to do.
Yeah.
But once you have the structure and the process, you do have a routine. You do have the confidence. You do have the structure. And that's what made the big difference. Yes, we all, well, okay, I lack confidence. But I kind of use that exact analogy. I knew that if I had the tools, I could do it. And I could raise that confidence. So yeah, all those three things were absolutely, I think the hardest one was, the confidence, honestly.
Wow.
Just lacking the confidence to be able to do it.
Yeah.
To be able to make that turn, to make that change.
Yeah, and for those people that are lacking confidence, I would say that's probably the biggest one that I hear. But also, what would you say to a firm owner who says, I'll do it after next tax season, or I'll do it after extensions, or I'll do it next year, or, I got to quit this job first before I can do this. What would you tell them based on your own personal experience?
I mean, you got to take that risk. At some point, you just have to do that. You have to trust in yourself that you can do it and think about it.
Hmm.
you're going to double your income over time. That time is probably faster than I did it, but um, certainly I didn't think I'd do that. So if you take the time now,
Hmm.
there's never a good time. It's like having children. There's never a good time to do it. You just have to do it. And it's going to make your life richer. And I don't mean that necessarily financially, but I mean being able to enjoy that family you may have or
Hmm.
want to create by doing it now. If you put it off to next year, you've got another year of bad habits to
Yeah.
break.
Hmm.
Um, so, you know, make the jump now.
Yeah. And like you said, it's probably like, I don't have kids, but I'm going to guess it's like kids. There's never a good time. But the firm owners that work with us during tax seasons or extension, they get the most practice. So when you're the busiest, you actually get more, you get like thrown into your own fire in a way to practice and get the repetitions in that I think many firm owners maybe don't get if they're not thrown in the fire and the flames when it's the busiest time. Our bookkeepers around January, December. It's the best time because you can make like real time change.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard to onboard during the tax season.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I'm like, you need to learn and get this process up so you
Yeah.
are ready to close come
Hmm.
now, October, November, December,
Yeah.
um, into January if that's your process. But absolutely don't wait to do it because you need to be up and running and developing the firm that you want as soon as you can.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just going to keep controlling you.
I love that. And I think for many firm owners, it's like you've created a job for yourself where your firm is controlling you. You're not controlling and dictating anything anymore. It all revolves around the emails and the calls and the paperwork and people getting you things late, not on time. And it's mounting to what you said. You were just so tired and frustrated. And then, oop, here I am.
We
Hmm.
started our businesses for control.
Right.
We
Yeah.
we wanted to control who we worked with, how we did it, when we did it, and then we let the business control us. So, we need to take control back.
Yes.
That's why we made these steps away from wherever we were before. We got to take it back. I mean, it's our business.
It is. Beth, I'd love it if you could share many firm owners. We ask, what's the biggest challenge that you have with your sales process? And these are some of the answers that I get. Okay. What would you say to a firm owner that says finding leads and converting, leads, marketing, finding clients, getting more leads, being a brand new firm owner, getting leads, when they think that's a sales problem, and that's actually all marketing, it has nothing to do with sales. What would you say to another firm owner that is thinking that way?
Well, I didn't realize that that was different than sales because we're accountants.
Right.
But you taught me that that is different. Getting the
Hmm.
leads is marketing. Converting the leads is the sales component. How do you get them to ultimately sign?
Hmm.
So if you don't have that process, who cares if you have a lead? You're not going to close
Hmm.
them. So you need to have that process so that when you do move to marketing, you
Yes.
can convert.
Yes.
Um, you can take those leads and seriously, why would you pay money for a bunch of leads and be out there networking and trying to get leads if you can't close them?
Right. Yeah, and that's a marketing problem, right? That's marketing is lead generation, getting leads, marketing, finding leads, getting new clients, marketing, like all of that is lead generation. Sales is converting, getting that interest to turn into a paying client. And it's just mind blowing to see how many people think that the biggest challenge with their sales is networking, marketing, or getting leads. Yeah. But like you said, you're accountants and now you know the difference, and hopefully others are also learning. So if you could go back to July of 2019 when we first crossed paths, to talk to the version of yourself back then who was nervous, right? Not confident, frustrated, tired, unsure, what would you tell that firm owner today?
Well, I think it's a lot of things I've already said. Take back control.
Yeah.
Value yourself.
Yes.
Do it now.
Yeah.
So that your future is better, so that you don't keep developing these horrible, habits that you have to, and so that you convert, Yeah, I think I've said pretty much that, and my history is
Good summary.
Experiences teaching me that.
Yeah. And instead of waiting another year, you can take action right now. And I think your story is a great reminder that confidence isn't something we're just naturally born with. It's really built when you finally have the right process to follow. And we're talking about our sales process here. And I know, back in 2019, you were kind of second guessing yourself, struggling to say no to clients, right? Your firm was controlling you instead of you being in control. And you wanted that confidence, clarity, and control. And now you have that. And you have a system that works every single time you follow it. And clients that see your value before you even share whatever the investment is to work with you. So I just want to say thank you, Beth, for sharing so openly and honestly here and being a gift to another firm owner. So together we can eradicate this under-earning and overworking disease that I think many firm owners have, or even those who are in a job, just working to the bone and they want that control. They have this side hustle firm, but they're so tied to that paycheck every 2 weeks, right? And creating the firm like you've given to your 2 team members is just a beautiful thing. So I just want to say thank you for taking out the time to be here with us today.
Well, thank you, Michelle. I mean, I do surely appreciate your program. It has made a difference in my life and the team's life and my family's life. So
Yeah.
I'm very grateful.
Well, thank you. And if you're an accounting, bookkeeper, or tax firm owner and you're listening right now and you are tired of discounting, winging your sales calls, not having a sales process like Beth, or maybe not even having confidence like her, and you hesitate every time you talk about your fees, this is a moment for you to change that. And if you'd like to explore how to do that, you can schedule a call with us at theabundantcall.com and talk to me and my team. If you're looking to get unstuck, looking to see what might be holding you back in your client conversations and really learn how to build the kind of sales process like Beth has that gives you that freedom, revenue, and peace of mind that you've been waiting for, then make sure to go schedule a conversation with us at theabundantcall.com. And, Beth, you took that step back in 2019 and it's completely transformed her life and her business. And I think the same can happen for you. So we look forward to speaking to some of you then. Beth, thank you so much for being here with us today on the Abundant Accountant podcast. It's an honor to see your growth, and I can't wait to have you re-review the course. It's an upgraded version from when you were there, so I'm very excited for that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Tax season shouldn't feel like detective work, but when clients are managing accounts payable manually, that's what happens. It's time to get them on Intuit QuickBooks Bill Pay so you get cleaner books and they stay tax ready all year round. QuickBooks Bill Pay brings together your clients' bills, vendor records, 1099s, and reporting together in one powerful platform, making it easier to review, reconcile, and prepare returns. Depending on your QuickBooks Bill Pay plan, you can leverage AI to ingest and pay bills in minutes. Set roles and permissions, audit trails, vendor verification, and fraud prevention checks. Plus, their unlimited 1099 e-filing keeps compliance simple and stress-free for everybody. Learn more at quickbooks.com/accountant bill pay. Again, that's quickbooks.com/accountant bill pay. Terms apply. Money movement services are provided by Intuit Payments, Inc., licensed as a money transmitter by the New York State Department of Financial Services.